Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We are coming to you live here from our studio in South Florida, bringing you our first impression session of our Spotlight stream, where tonight we went over Samurai Jack Back to the Past by Project Raygun. But first up, who are we? I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
I'm Josh.
And we are Twist Gaming, and you guys are awesome for being here with us today.
Hey.
So first and foremost, we would like to do a shout-out to Project Raygun with Samurai Jack Back to the Past, and PSI Presents Pandasaurus with Nyctophobia for being our sponsors for this stream and all of this week's streams. So for our new viewers, first-time viewers here, our first impression session is where we talk about our favorite aspects of the game, our constructive criticisms that we have, and the most important question of the evening of would we play this game again? And typically we start this off with our, favorite aspects and the person that won the game this evening. And
Josh, take it away.
don't even.
You forgot one thing.
What's that?
We normally talk about what the game is
that's true.
first.
We do
You're
normally talk
skipping
about
steps.
what kind of game it is.
You're so
here.
excited
I
to
am.
talk
I
about
got a
it.
little ahead of myself. So, Josh, what kind of game is Samurai Jack Back to the Past?
I'm trying to figure out the right words. It's semi-co-op,
Okay.
as we could all lose to the game.
Correct.
But there's still a winner.
So if the game doesn't win, then one of us will win. There
Yeah.
can be only one.
Only be one.
Yes.
Highlander.
There's a set collection aspect of the game, and it's got kind of I'm trying to figure out the right word to call the movement. It's kind of like Tokaido and raids where you're kind of jumping on the board from spot to spot.
You're moving along the board, and the order in which you're moving is based on your placement on the board. So last place moves first, but then they counteract that with first place picks up items first. So that order there.
Just typically whoever was in last place because they moved first.
No.
It depends on which
I mean, if you're on the same location.
that you choose
I mean,
to
the
go
first
to.
round, I was like near the back of the pack almost the entire time. So that's just a very wrong statement. No, but typically since you're moving first when you're in the back of the pack, you are jumping further ahead of everyone else.
I would still call it simultaneous action selection, even if you're choosing location.
Yeah, so we are simultaneously. We're simultaneously choosing our locations that we're going to and trying to cooperatively help Jack in his journey here. So, favorite aspects of the game, I really I like that movement style. I'm just gonna point that out. I think it's a nice way to incorporate the movement and kind of allow for a quasi catch-up mechanic. So if you're in the back of the pack, you've got kind of first choice of what you're going to do. Even though it's not first choice, we're all picking at the same time, but you have your action has priority because only 3 people are allowed within the spaces. And in a 4-player game where there are actually 2 minis aside from you, that being Jack and Aku, that can occupy those spaces, you can force people to trickle ahead further on the map and kind of throw off their strategies. So I did enjoy that aspect of it, and one of the obvious things about this game, I'm going to switch over to the board cam here, the artwork is absolutely gorgeous, and the table presence, because of it, is really, really nice. So you've got kind of this amorphous board, and I say amorphous just because you can set it up kind of however you want, as evidenced by and laying it out in one way, and Josh getting frustrated with it for whatever reason, and then rearranging the tiles in the last round. But it did show off that the board can change, and it's actually nice, too, because the board fits your table.
Yeah,
So if you've got a big long table and you can play a long straight board, or if you've got a little round table, you could actually play a circular board if you wanted to. So I thought that was a really neat, simple little thing that added a nice little touch to the game. But very pretty, very bold primary colors there, and otherwise just pretty simple, easy to pick up gameplay. How about you, Ann?
I really like the fact that so the game is kind of a light, fun game, and with kind of light, fun games, I don't ever like to feel that disappointment that you kind of get in a big, challenging game.
Right.
I never like to feel 800 steps behind. I don't like to feel 800 steps behind in any game.
Yeah.
But in this game, we played 3 rounds, and in entering into our 3rd round, I only had 1 point.
Yeah.
What Andrew was saying is that a good winning round is about 20...
Game winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
game winning is about 20 or so points.
Correct.
So in the beginning of the round, I kind of feel like, all right, I got 1 point, but I'm enjoying this. I'm curious to see how this is going to end. And at the end of the game, you and I had a spread of 4 points.
So going into the last round,
Yes, I had
you
1
had 1
point.
point. I had 20 points.
Yeah.
So there was a 19-point differential going into the last round, which you closed the gap down to 4.
Yeah. So I really thought that was very cool. There was never a point in time where I felt super behind. And I feel like in the beginning round, the initial round, the Aku mechanism of kind of messing with all of everything, just everything.
Messing with you.
Yeah, he prevents you from collecting cards. He prevents you from choosing the next location that you'd like to go to. We also played, I guess the encounter mechanism
Tokens, yeah.
is
Advanced
optional.
rule.
It's
Yeah.
optional. So we played with the encounter, and basically what those are is you have 4 tokens.
You pick
2 of them are
3.
Aku, and 2 of them are the White Wolf, and you pick 3 of them at random and place them in specific places on the board. And the Aku encounter, you have to randomly discard one of your cards
Whereas the White Wolf, you randomly get a card
from the top of the support deck. I got an Aku encounter. I had Aku following me. I had Aku throwing me around the board. So I think that I really got messed with.
You did.
Aku met up with you, then threw you on the board to an Aku counter.
Yeah.
token.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So-
On like the second turn. So I feel like even with all of that going on, like hitting all of the negative marks, it's still cool to have wound up at the end of the game with a 3-point spread and have enjoyed playing the game.
Absolutely. Josh, how about you? Any aspects of the game that really stood out to you that you enjoyed?
I mean, I like the theme. I'm not a huge Samurai Jack fan.
Mhm.
Like I used to watch it like when I was a kid, like the old season.
Yeah.
But the art and everything's awesome. Some of the cards have some good like humor on them.
While he's looking for an example, I'd
Yeah.
like to point out, too, that the minis are really, really gorgeous.
They're not like minis that I think that painters are going to absolutely love.
I
Like
mean, they're pre-painted,
hobby,
so...
right? That hobby miniature painters are gonna love, but they're really pretty. Here's Jack.
But yeah, they're very nice. They're full color. They've got the color-coordinated bases to the character cards, and it's a little touch that
It's very high
for
quality.
a $35 price point game, I think is very good value
Yeah.
for that. I think that, yeah, as Anne was saying, the spread of the final score was surprising how tight it was, and that's pretty good game design there. Big shout out to Andrew who joined us on stream. But keeping a game from having like a telegraphed winner, even though like I was significantly ahead going into the last round, I only won by 1 point.
So if I didn't hit this Aku thing here and have my 1 leaf, I only had 1 leaf in my hand, and I
that's
had
the
like
one-
8 weapons.
Oh, that's the one you got taken away.
And I was the one taken away. It was my risk there. If I didn't have that taken away, I would have gotten an extra 5 points and taken the lead.
right.
Like it was extremely close, and
I mean, that's part of
it helped
the
what it helped.
chance
Yeah.
element that gets put into this game. Because that happened to me a little bit in one of the other rounds, too, where it took away some cards of mine. And then being able to read your opponents and see what they're going to do definitely aids into what you're doing. So there's a little bit of the player
Social
interaction.
deduction
social
kinda.
deduction.
Because when you play the cards, you leave them face up, and you can't play it again until you hit your reset card,
Right.
which is every player has a certain color, so you can kind of see where they're gonna go and what they're gonna do, which is
Okay. So any other aspects of the game that you guys wanted to touch on that really you appreciated before we go into the constructive criticism section?
I want to talk about Aku's face.
Oh no!
So you can go run into one of 3 versions of Aku as the final boss, and I think it's really cute. Not only that the combinations of cards that you need to earn honor points at the villain level are different, but that each of his different facial expressions, he's drawn 3 different ways.
Yeah,
I think that's so great.
The unique artwork in the game is quite nice. I don't think there's any duplicates on any of the cards that we have here, the support cards, and even on the box itself.
Oh, it's green screening.
There's a couple different Aku faces, which is pretty neat.
That's the one on the thing, but this is good. That's so ridiculous.
This and
What?
this one?
That's what Josh looks like when he gives you the cheese smile. Oh, that's cute.
It's a
All
smile
right.
that hurts your face.
Yeah. So, constructive criticisms. What parts of the game, if you had the opportunity to, would you tweak? And I'm just going to leave that open for someone to jump into.
I had the issue of I think Ann had the same issue where we got resource heavy of one type, and
Is that because you were purposely trying to follow Jack more?
a little bit following Jack, but like some of it was just like I would follow Jack top deck a lot.
Yeah,
I
that's
top deck
true.
a lot, so I just kept getting. I don't know. I'm really curious to take a look at the cards of the proportions of each one. I'm assuming they're equal,
Yeah.
but like
between the allies, the traits, and the weapons.
Correct.
I'm assuming they're equal. The other thing was I would land on a spot, someone would take the other card that I needed, and all that was left was a weapon. So I ended up with 6 weapons at the end.
I got that the other way around, where I needed a last weapon, and I think somebody took it before I could. No,
That'd be Josh.
You know what happened? I think Aku landed with me,
Yeah.
and then I couldn't pick it up, and during the first couple of rounds, and just as a reminder, I am the person in the group that comes to the game not knowing anything about the game, so a lot of what's happening when I'm playing the game is very much so learning the game and experiencing that for the very first time. And I was getting a little frustrated about being resource heavy, but at the end of the game, when my point spread was 4 points and I could still get my 8 point, like Andrew beat me to the 10-point slot,
Right.
and I could have gotten 14 points from that. Instead, I got 12 from the second point slot, which wasn't too bad. But I wasn't super upset with it being resource heavy, and the fact that you
Yeah.
can turn in the cards at the end for a point each, which is what you were able to do to swing to beat Andrew's
Correct.
score,
Yeah.
I thought was kind of neat.
And then there was a couple situations where we got stuck on a location with no cards, which I understand. It's just part of it. And it's not even a complaint. There's a few parts that were just kind of,
Less
this
fun?
happened. It was a little less fun. Yeah. But
My only real gripe that I had in terms of constructive criticism here is that
There were
each-
not enough honor cards and the coins in there for me to make my final score.
No. So the actual movement cards that each person has, as Josh was saying, or Ann was saying, one of you, your hand refreshes whenever you play the card associated with your character. And it doesn't say on your character
Explicitly.
what area they're associated with, and it's color based. And I'm curious as if you had a problem with that, Josh, but I personally had a problem with myself and Anne because I was this dark orange color.
Please.
Thank you. I was this dark orange color here,
Yep.
and Anne was red, and like that's really
so,
close.
and when I was going to go say something to you, it was because you played your city card, and I thought you were supposed to refresh your hand. And then I realized, wait, you're the desert, and that's why I didn't say anything. And you just gave me this like what, And I'm like, oh, I looked at that wrong.
The only thing that does give you a little bit of a quote-unquote symbology, if you will, is if you look in the background of Sir Rothschild's card, it's got the wavy dunes of the desert, and then on the back of mine, it's got like the buildings of
Yeah.
the city. But having like a little thing next to the character name or like above the character's head that just says city in the same spot or desert or something like that, I think would have gone a long way in just removing a little annoyance.
The other thing,
that I
point
had.
out, put up both
This
the
is not going to show up.
Scotsman. Yeah, very well. But so the Scotsman and the desert,
Yes.
the fields in the desert have the same freaking
wow,
pattern.
I didn't even realize that. And you are red-green colorblind.
Yeah,
So you can see the pattern a little bit. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
But they're both these
Wavy.
rolling fields or dunes.
right.
I can tell the colors between those two pretty well. For me, they used a good shade of red and green.
right.
But if
For
I
some,
wasn't
they might not
sure and I was just looking by the shape of it, it was for the colorblind side of things. Those were the two spots.
I gotcha.
All right, I want to talk about one thing, and I think that it's kind of a moot point. I was debating whether or not I was even going to talk about it.
Yeah.
When I was picking up, in between the rounds, you pick up the location tiles, you shovel them up, you put them back down. They're in sets of 5 so that it's a repeating pattern. I picked up all of them so they could get segmented out and then shuffled individually and then put back on the board. And the two of you freaked out about it.
Because you could have just picked up 5 and then handed them, and then picked up the next 5 and then handed them.
Okay.
The
I
way
wanted
you
to
did
make
it
sure there
more
was
work.
I wanted to make sure there wasn't another point because so the way I was doing it was to get it off the table
I-
because for a clean table for the
Okay.
viewers. But I wanted to make sure that I brought up the point because I didn't know if there was a better reason than
No,
okay.
I think
because
Josh
then I
and
was
both
like
had that same
Yeah.
viewpoint of, wait, you could just take the first 5 and hand them off.
All right.
And the first time you did, you took 5 off. You took 7 off. You handed me 2, and then you started taking off here, and I'm like, I don't have all 5, and then you handed me 3 random ones, and that you were mixing the sets, and then we got confused. It wasn't a big issue. Just that was
We
the other thing
figured
that
it
happened.
out.
We figured
It's
it out. Andrew did make a good suggestion, which is what you can do is you go one way, and then you go back the other way.
So you don't have to do
You have to
setup again.
Set up. You're gonna have to do it one more time
Yeah.
because there's 3 rounds. But yeah,
you can reuse the path.
Right.
The
And I mean,
path of
technically, I guess you could
enlightenment.
reuse the path if you wanted to either way. It's not going to really change up that much.
yeah.
So,
I think the order really only became important when you were trying to rush to the end.
right.
Because I was trying to do that. That was one of my focal points with Andrew in round 3. And based on the way my cards were and where I was on the board, it could only do it in 3 turns. But if some of the tiles were in different orders, like maybe you can see, but maybe if the desert card was behind me instead of in front of me, then I would have jumped to a further desert card and picked up my cards again.
Right. All right. So, any other constructive criticisms here? I mean, honestly, I think that this game was very
For what
neat.
For what it is, it's well done. It's cute. It's fun. It's light. I think I hope that it meets the needs of the fandom. It's got a dragon. I'm cool.
So yeah, speaking of meeting the needs of the fandom, I thought that was an interesting thing that I had spoke with Andrew a little bit at Gamma about this game, doing a preview of it, and as you know, we all played supporting characters in Samurai Jack, and no one had the opportunity to play as Jack.
Yeah.
And so he looked at that as a benefit of you don't have people fighting to play the main character of the game.
I didn't think about that. Well, that's because I'm the oldest child, so I was always Mariam. But I didn't think about that, and that's a good point. It's the two
Yeah.
main, like the main hero and the main villain,
Right.
are just kind of on the board with you.
They're being autonomously controlled, and you are taking your pick of your favorite supporting characters, which, as we all know, Andrews is Monkey Man.
It's in
Jump
the rule
good.
book.
Jump good. All right, so going to the most important question of the evening, we're going to ask, would you play this game again? Josh?
Yeah, I play this again. I'm really interested to see how much this changes with 5 players, and even at the 3-player count of how much more chaos there is.
Okay. Anne, how about you?
It's a cute, light, fun game, and if I was looking for a game to fill that need, I think that I'd definitely bring this up, maybe play it with the kids. I don't know if I would play it for like a more in-depth game night, but I think that it hits all the boxes for what it is.
And I definitely have to say yes. I do like Samurai Jack. I am familiar with the older series, and I really like the way the game plays. I like the way that it looks on the table. It really checks a lot of boxes for me, and I'm gonna have to definitely give this 2 big thumbs up. I would definitely play this again, and I'm probably gonna force Josh to play it with me again at some point. Not really force, but ask politely.
I hope this game gains traction as an Adult Swim game because I really want an Aqua Teen Hunger Force game now, and I want to play as Meatwad.
All right. So, is there anything else from either of you two?
Yes. Okay. So we were talking a little bit in between the breaks, and I think it's an important point for us, something we don't really touch on too much on our YouTube videos, and it's that we found out that about 70% of the people that are out, you said 7 out of 10 of you guys out there watching this video right now aren't actually subscribers to our YouTube channel. Now, while we do this video live on Twitch with our super awesome live audience, we would love to have you guys subscribing on YouTube. Now, I told this to Aaron. You're going to love this so much.
Okay.
And he said that because we listen to our youngest son watch all of the YouTube, that, guys, we're not doing something right to get people to subscribe.
Click that button right there.
No. I will reenact what Aaron did, and I want you to visualize Aaron doing this because I wish I could put that in a box for you and give it to you. What you need to do is bing, bang, boom! Hit that subscribe bell! Oh, yeah!
Thank you all for watching us this evening. This is going to be Twist Gaming signing off as usual. I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
I'm Josh.
Have a good night, everyone, and thank you for watching.
Bing, bang, boom! Hit that subscribe button!